So welcome to Don't Build Systems. So in this video, I'm going to teach you on how to create a simple booking automation. So I will just show you how this works. So if you're a spa, if you're in the spa industry, salon, or any service-based business, so you can apply this to your business. So for example, what I used here is just Google Form. So for this video, we're just gonna use the Google Form. So on a business process, what how this works is that you're going to send the client a booking form, or if you don't have a website form, so you're gonna send this to them, then you're going to ask them to fill this up and book their appointment here. So I'll just so submit again, then I should be able to. Okay, so it's, if you will see here, so I will not deep dive in how to connect your sheets or Google Form. So maybe we can do that on our next video. But this one, it automatically saves here on this sheet. Then what we're going to check is if the client receives the email. So for this instance, it does. So this is the email that I'm using, and it sent me the message. So this is what the client should be able to receive on their email. So, hello, Don Osumaki. Here are your spa booking details. Then here's the service, the date, then the time. So that's how it will work. All right. Then, besides that, our automation also have uh, the functionality to add the contact here in HubSpot. So as you can see, it automatically adds the that that booking, that contact. So basically, it's your lead, right, to your contact, which is right here. So if you can see, here's the phone number, then the contact owner. Then also we have the functionality uh, on our automation, wherein if you check the activities, you can be able to see also here the email, right? The email that was sent to the client. Then if you check here on the emails tab here in HubSpot, you will see that also here. So yeah, we have that functionality. So basically, that's how it works. Then also we have the functionality of being able to update this contact. So for example, let's do this one. Let's fill up that form again. So in Google Form, you can put that to settings wherein you can wherein you don't limit the responses of each email to one. So they can, since this is a booking automation, what we want is that the client can be able to book an appointment again. So basically, we we have to we don't need to limit it to one. So let's try again. So this time, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna edit the name, right? So let's change that to, for example, the Konha again, the email. Actually, let's just put 09 here, because on our automation, this there is also what we call normalizing of the fields. So even if the client here on the form inputted this 0992, for example, wait, let me just 992 0992 9, oh. It's missing. Let me just check. Okay, correct. So we also have that in the automation, which I will teach you, wherein it will normalize this to using the area code, which is +63 for the Philippines. So, yeah. So let's continue here. So I edited the name. So let's check later if it will work. So submit again. Then I should be able to receive the email. Let's check. There it is. So we have Don Ochia. As you can see, it changes the name. So in order to check if it really changes the name, so we need this is the very important part of this automation is it must update the name of the contact if the client changes their name. So here we have the name. So earlier it was, oh, let me just refresh this. There. I'm sorry. Earlier it was Uzumaki, right? Then it was Uchiha now. Then let's check the activities. So we have the new email. So it's recorded here. Then here on the activities. Right? Okay. So now let's proceed with the n8n automation. So how are we going to do this, right? So go to your n8n. Then first we're gonna create a trigger stuff, right? Let's just So first you're going to create a Google Sheets trigger. Then put it to on row added. Okay. Then I'm just gonna set this to every minute. And then I'm gonna choose the the Google Sheet. So as you can see here, you can be able to see your Google Sheet. Just connect your Gmail account, right? So yeah, we have here the Google Sheets trigger. So I can be able to select a sheet. So I'm just gonna select the same sheet that I used, just like what I showed you earlier. Then gonna choose this one is the tab inside the sheet. So if you can see, let's go back. This is the name of the tab, which is form responses one. So just gonna select that. Then okay, so we already have this. Then after that, we can add the edit edit node. So add the edit node. Just select edit. Then put to manual mapping. Then just gonna name this trim white space. Then let's run this node for now. Okay. Okay. Because I need those fields. So here on the edit fields, you're going to see here on the input the previous nodes. So right now we only have the Google Sheets trigger. So we have two datas here. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna select the column. So you can change the view here, or if you prefer JSON, if you can understand it well, in this format, then feel free to do so. Regardless of what is displayed here, you're just gonna have to select the field that you want to put here on the edit field. So here on the edit field, my goal here is to trim the white space name, and then we're gonna normalize the email. All right. So basically, I want the email to turn into all lowercase. Okay. So let's just drag it here. So we have the trim white space. Just drag the full name field here. So if you can, it's the same here. So if you want to do on this table format, then you can just drag it. Okay. Then I'm just gonna add a little bit of JavaScript code here. So since we are going to trim this, so take note this we have the fix and the expression. If you want the expression, this is the format. So this is a JavaScript. Anything inside this curly braces is JavaScript. So if you're familiar with the JavaScript, then feel free to do so. So this one, so this is if you're familiar with JavaScript, this is what we use when we want to trim, right? So I use that trim function, then that replace. Okay. So in order for us to trim the white spaces, if there are any white spaces. The next, you can just add a field again. Then I'm going to call this normalized email. Then we're gonna use string for now. Then we'll just copy paste the format. This is the same. Or I will just drag and drop this. So it's up to you. Then I will just add a little bit of JavaScript here. Dot trim to lowercase. Okay. So here you can, as you can see here, you can be able to see the output, right, of the code that you put here. Okay, so we're good to go. Trim white, we have the trim white space name. So we have that full name, right? Then we have the email. Okay. So let's save that for now. So we can try to execute this step there. So you will see here on the right side, this is the output. So when you execute this step, here you will be able to see the output here. So this is the output of the normalized trim white space, then normalized email, right? So as you can see here, uh, so here on the settings, I forgot to mention, you need to put that you need to enable the output, always output data here on the Google Sheets trigger. So always output data. Okay. So this node will output, so it says here, this node will output an empty item if nothing would normally be returned. So basically, if let's say if you trigger this step and there's no output, it will return an empty item here, empty output here. Yeah. But that is unlikely to happen because this is a Google Sheets trigger, right? So it will only trigger if there is a new column added here, okay, on our Google Sheet. Okay, so let's proceed. I'm gonna do the same also with the edit fields. So always output data here. Okay. So here I also use the always output data, but it's up to you if you don't want to. But I recommend that you turn this on. And in some nodes, these are not. There are. This is a case basis. So in some nodes, there will be instances where you don't need to enable this, and I will show that to you later. So I'm just gonna always enable this always output data. So now we have the normalize. Okay, next. Let's add another node. So this time we're gonna use the normalized phone. So if you want to just put the normalized phone here, you can free to do so. But I prefer to use the code node. So because since we're normalizing phone numbers, so it is more flexible to use the code node so that you can be able to have that flexibility, right? Just you can use JavaScript and then you can manipulate the phone number into what you want it to be, into what format you want it to be. So just search here the code here, run custom JavaScript or Python. So if you know Python, you can use Python, but for me, I'll just use JavaScript. Then you also have a feature here to ask AI. So if you don't know, you don't have knowledge in programming, you can just ask AI. But I've tried this, and on the first try, it doesn't. It gives me error. But yeah, you can just ask AI if you don't know anything about coding. But for me, since I know how to code, I'll just copy paste the code since I have already done this. So I'll just copy paste the code here. Then I will explain what is happening. So here, what's happening here is, so you have a const item variable. So you have an items variable, input all. Okay. So this input dot all function, basically it will it will get all the items here on our previous node. So you have to take note of this if you're doing some coding here. So the if you use input dot all, you you can it will only get the items from its previous node. So it's referring to this Google Sheet, the edit field trigger, right? So the next we have trigger items, then the Google Sheets. So it's referring to the Google Sheets trigger here. So that's the name of the node. Then that all. It's going to get the items of the Google Sheets trigger. Then return items, we're gonna use the map method in JavaScript. Since the items are in an array format, then yeah, basically I will not go through all this. So basically it just normalizes the phone number. So as you can see here, we have the raw, then we have here the raw phone, then string, then it replaces. We use the replace method. Then we have a condition here. So if it starts with 09, then it's going to concatenate this one to phone, then that's slice method. Then else if it's 63 equal to 12, then you're gonna add the plus, concatenate the plus, then the value of the phone, which is this one. Then item.json, the normalized phone. So basically, the item.json refers to this node, right? Item.json, then normalized phone number. So which is basically this one is in JavaScript. In simple terms, you are creating a new property to the object. So not, as you can see here on the edit fields, we don't have that field, right? So basically, it wants to create a normalized phone number property with a value of phone, which is this one, right? Then we're gonna use the return item, which is this one. We're gonna return the item so that when you run that, so if we run that and execute this step, right? You will get this output here. So as you can see, it returns the three fields. So we have three fields here. So the trim white space, normalized email, then normalized phone number. Okay. Then also, I'm gonna turn this on. Always output data. Okay. So we have a note here. This node will output an empty item. So as I mentioned before. Okay. So if nothing will return, it will display here an empty JSON. So you will not be able to see anything here. So that's how it works. Okay. So now we have the code in JavaScript. We already normalized the phone number, right? So let's proceed to the next node. And let me just try this again. So let me check. Okay, so this one is 0992. Okay, we have the normalized phone number. Okay. Chia. Okay, great. So doesn't matter, right? As you can see, this is the data that I didn't clear the responses yet, so that's why you are getting the same emails. But never mind that. So later we're just gonna do a clean testing again. So let's proceed. So next we're gonna do the HubSpot nodes. So what we want to do is, since we already normalized the necessary fields. Now next we're gonna search if that contact, if that data or and fields and exist in our HubSpot contacts. All right. So let's just put here the search. Here, search contact. As you can see here on the input, you can see the previous nodes, right? So in the search contact, what we're going to do is go to settings, always output data again. Then what we want to do is execute this once. Since what this does is it will search the data from the HubSpot. So I've tried this. If this one is not enabled, if you execute the step, you will be able to see duplicate data. So because since you didn't turned on execute once, it will execute twice. So that's what I encountered while doing this. So just turn on the execute once. Okay, then with the parameters, just have contact, search. Then we're gonna add the filter here. So for the filter, since we want to first search for the email. So let's add, oops. So let's search for the email. So So if you don't have an HubSpot account, you can just link it here. Okay. So for me, it's already connected, so I don't have to do anything here. Right. So let's go back to filter. We have the email, then the equal operator, then this is our previous nodes. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get the data from the previous node, right? Because because here the code in JavaScript is already the normal. We already have the normalized fields, right? So this is what I want to get. All right. So email is equal to normalized email. So I'm just gonna drag this here, right? Just select that. Then after that, just execute the step. So basically, what happens is it will be able to search because we have existing data. So as you can see earlier here, if you go back to HubSpot, we have the existing contact and the email for that. Okay. So basically it will work. Okay. Always output data. Here we go. So here is the details for here are the results. I mean, this output is from our HubSpot contact. Okay. So next we're gonna proceed with the if statement. So what we want to do is, since we already searched the contacts, so our filter here is email, right? We're going to search if the email from HubSpot account is equal to this normalized field that we have here, right? Normalized email, right? But we're gonna add an if statement so that to check if the email exists or not. So for that, we're just gonna use the if node. Okay, so with the if node, so what we're gonna do is to put a value here. So for me, I prefer to use the expression here. So, and I will just drag and drop the ID. So what we need here is the ID because we need to check. We're checking if the input, if the email exists, right? So we need to get the ID. So if there is, the condition here is if there is an existing fields items from our previous node, which is the search contact. So we're gonna drag this here. So as you can see, here is the result. Then our condition here is, so we're not gonna use this. We're just gonna use is not empty, right? So if the ID is not empty, all right. Basically, if the ID is not empty, basically the search node found some data, some items, right, from our contact. Then we're just gonna check the settings. So here on the settings, on our if node, we don't have to turn this on because if you always output the data, here's what will happen. Basically we don't have the false branch yet. So basically what will happen is it will it will have a value here in false branch. It will output the empty data. So so let's say if let's say if we run this workflow, i- it, the result is false here on the if node. It will go to to this um to this branch. You will see here that it will display an empty output here, and we don't want that because what we want is we need to only we need to only choose one. So what we want is we don't want any data here if the condition is true. So it must go to this true branch. All right. So I'm just gonna turn this off, and I can just execute this step again. Okay. So there's the data. So now we're gonna focus with the true. So if the email exists, right? So I'm just gonna rename this. Check if email exists, right? Okay. Then, oh, my bad. Search contact. The if is the check if email exists. Okay. So let's proceed with the true branch first. So next, we're gonna use the create or update node for HubSpot. HubSpot create or update a contact here. Then we're gonna set this up with the email. I want the email to come from this previous node, which is, oh no, here in the code in JavaScript. Normalize phone number. Let me just check. Okay, good, good. Let me just edit the name there. Okay, normalize phone number here. Then I will just drag the email. Since the email exists, we're gonna create or update. So basically what it automatically checks. So you don't have to worry about update. So it will, if the email exists here, it will update that contact from HubSpot. So that's basically what this node does. It will update or create. So we need to add another property here. So let's say if the client updates the full name. So we need to update the contact in HubSpot also for the name. Because if you don't have that property here, even if, let's say, the client books again using our Google Forms and has a different name, it will not update it here using this node. So you need to add that property. So for this one, I'm just gonna go with first name. So in our Google form, we use full name. So I'm just gonna put that full name here in the first name field here in our HubSpot. So let's go in. So we're gonna go a few nodes back. So we're gonna use the normalized phone number because this is the normalized fields that we have, right? So I'm just gonna use trim white space here. Then next, I'm just gonna add the phone number. So here, phone number. I'm just gonna drag here, phone number. Okay, so we have the properties that we want to get updated. Yeah, you can add another properties here if you want. Okay, it's up to you. But for me, mostly because the phone number can be updated, the first name can be updated. So I'll include this here. All right. So now let's go to settings. Settings. We don't have to do anything here. Just put it to off, right? Then you can execute this step. Okay. As you can see here, gonna look for the that data. Let me just search it up. Let me just search the same name here, the first name here. Yeah. So you will see the values here. Okay. So now that's done. We're gonna use for best practices. We're gonna use a reference node. So just type operation. So this node will just do nothing. Okay. So this is just a reference. So you don't have to do anything here. Right there. You don't have to turn this on. So we just want a reference so that we know uh where the branches came from. So if we run the workflow. So I'll have a reference as to where where the workflow is going. So which branch is it going? So this is just for reference. Okay. Then next we're gonna use Gmail. So this is the part where we already create or update the contact. Then after that, it must send an email to the client. Okay, so let's do that, and let's just use the send message. Send the message. Okay, so here on this send message, you can set this up. So just connect your Google account. So we're gonna use message. Then operation is send. So here are the notes. So here on this email, I wanted to send to the new contact, right? So we're gonna go few nodes back in the normalized phone number. Then I will just use the email here, the normalized email. Okay. Then subject. For the subject, you can just put anything. So here I put spa booking because this booking automation is specific. I made it specifically for the spa business. But you can, like I said, you can change your Google form that matches your business operations. Okay, so email type, you have HTML. So I'm just gonna copy paste the previous work that I did. So here, okay, hello. Let me just check. Reference node doesn't exist. Okay, so just gonna edit this one. Just gonna go get the name. So I want the name, right? So normalize. Oh no. Uh, normalize. Here, trim white space. Trim white space here. Edit fields. Okay. Normalize. Let me check if I have. Oh, no. I don't want the edit fields. I want the normalized field already. So let's use the trim white space. Okay. Okay. So that's going to be this is going to be the format of the email. Okay. Then if you want to have a CC here, you can do so. CC the email. Uh, I just put one. You can execute the step right here. So it successfully sends the email. So let me check. I think we're going to receive that. Here it is. Right. Hello, Don Sumaki. Then the spa booking. So there. There you go. So let's continue. So we're not done yet. The last one here on the true branch is the save contact. So just go to HubSpot. So here we're gonna use the engagement. This is called an engagement. So engagement in HubSpot basically does is what it basically does is it will create the activities here. It will create automatically the activities. So let's say here the email, right? So take note that the engagement in HubSpot doesn't necessarily mean it will send an email. It will send an email. No. What it does is it will just add here on the activities, right? The sent email. So let's go back. So that's why if you can see we need to first send the email. Then this one is actually this is optional. So if you don't want to see the activities here, you don't want to add it here on the engagement, the activities. So feel free to do so. But for me, I want to add this because let's say you want to track if this client has already received an email from us from from your business specifically. So this is like a activity. You can think of this as like an activity log. So basically, that's what it does. So let's go back to our automation. So let's set this up now. So we have the engagement. So the operation is create an engagement, right? So we want to add it here on our activities. So here are an email, right? Okay. So select. So here you can select. So as you can see here, we have different activities. So we have meetings, tasks, calls, emails, notes. So basically, we want to create a new engagement for the emails, for the sent emails that the client have received. So, so I'm gonna select email. So if you have other, if you want other fields, no, this is not the. If you want calls, then you can feel free to do so there. But so let's go with the fix here. Email. Okay. The next we're gonna add the metadata, which is the email, right? So basically, you still have to create an email format here. It's just like here on the send message, right? So here we have a template here. So you also need a template here, right? So that's why basically, if you're going to add engagement in your workflow in your branch, make sure that the send Gmail comes first before this one. Okay. Well, that's my recommendation. But yeah, you can just you can you can make this first, then the Gmail. But for me, it doesn't make sense in if we're talking about the business process, right? It doesn't make sense to put this first because if for some reason you encountered an error, so for example, you let's say you this is the first, right? Engagement, then email, right? So let's just imagine it. Okay. So what if we encountered an error here in our Gmail node? So basically, what happens is that the data in your HubSpot will become inaccurate. So you send them you put a new engagement here on our email activity, like this one, right? But you encountered an error on our Gmail send a message node, and the email did not failed to send it to the client. So you already have an inaccurate data here in HubSpot, which is we don't want that, right? So that's why
conceptually as you build.
I recommend use I recommend you to first do the send message node, then do this. Okay? Just close that. So let's proceed. From email, you have the type. I'm just gonna add a CC here. No, I don't want to add CC here. Let's just focus on adding the email from email. So let's use that. See, I'm just gonna use my personal email here. Then I think I'm just gonna copy paste the message here because it's just the same, right? Normalize phone number. Okay. HTML. Okay, want that. Okay, let me just explain here real quick. So why we choose this field? So these are just the same fields that we use on our previous node, which is the Gmail. So basically, I choose normalized phone numbers because this is the data that was already trained on our workflow, right? Then you will ask why I use the this one, requested service. So I use this one because that is the that is the source of the data, right? So these items here, this is as a whole, this is an item. So these fields here is came from the client. So this is so basically if you're going to send an email, you need to match it to what the client inputted on their Google Forms, right? So basically, as you can see, you will see here Google Sheets, right? Which is this node, then that item that JSON, and the field. Okay. So basically, if you're going to create an email template, you must make sure that the data or fields that you want to add, you want to get came from the client. Okay. Okay. So next, let's go back. Then let's just add the subject. I'm just gonna add the subject here. Okay, no problem. To email. So from email. So here in the to email, I'm just gonna use the normalized phone number. So we're gonna go nodes back here. So you will ask me why not just use the here, the operation here, the reference. Because this is the data that is still connected to the original data of the client. So here in our normalized phone number, we just normalize the data that came from the client. So since this one came from the client and we just do some changes or like trim, normalize email. So it is safe that and recommended to use this one, right? Then to send an email, just drag it like before. Okay, you can see it here. Then let's check our settings. So we're gonna always output data here, which is which is not uh, which is not going to be an issue because since we are already in this node, we already checked from our previous node that the data exists and there is a data existing data. So just turn on the always output data. Okay, so now let's try to execute the workflow. So it's going to go here on the true. Okay, so let's check. So since we already have an existing data here in a contact here in HubSpot, so what happened here is it updates the contact. Okay, so let's check our emails first. So here we receive it. Don Sumaki, blah blah blah. Okay, so let's try to book an appointment again. Same email, right? Let's try that. So let's change the name. Say Chobi. Do Konoha. There's this phone number. Let's try a different number. Okay. Preferred branch. Okay. Then consent. Then submit. So it will send an email. Let's just wait. So enable to look, you can. So right now we're in the editor. If you want to check if the execution is succeeded, right? So you can go here in this tab. Okay. So this is the preview. This is the latest execution. So let's check. Let me just refresh this one. Let me just I think it didn't send an email to me. What happened? Let me check. Let's check it. The editor. What's is happening here? Mm-hmm. Didn't encounter any errors. Oh, here it is. It's this delay. Okay, so we have here, hello Chowi, right? So let's check here. I'm gonna refresh the page. So it updated the name, right? So okay, so we're done. We're done here. So basically, that's what the true branch here do. So we have this came from the if statement, right? Okay. So since we have that, so let's say we're gonna check now. So what if it's so this one it focuses more on if the email exists, right? So let's say what if the email doesn't exist. So which is our which is what we are going to do here in our if node, right? Because on our search contact, we filter to check if there are data from the HubSpot contacts which contains this email. And then in our if statement, our if statement is if there is an existing ID from the previous con, HubSpot node search contact. So if it is not empty, it will proceed to this branch true, right? And then it will basically what this will do is it will update the HubSpot contact. Okay. Then here on the false branch, we're gonna do is we're gonna search the phone number now. So if the email didn't exist, so it will not go through in our true branch. It will go to our false branch. Then after that, we need to create another search HubSpot, and then let me just add it. We're going to create a search HubSpot and search for the phone number. So let's do that. Search contacts. Here we go. Okay. Contact search. So nothing new. Here on our filter, we're just gonna change phone number, right? Instead of email. Where is it? Where is it? Can find it. Can I just search? Okay, phone number equal to the value. So we're gonna use the normalized phone number nodes for this one. Okay. We don't have any data here. Let me just let's just execute that step. Okay, there. So well, forgive me guys, I'm just lazy. If you don't, since this is a new node, so if you don't see any fields here, just execute the step. Okay. Or if you want, you can just do the expression, right? So let me just drag the phone number here. But since I'm lazy to type, so, so you basically can just do this. Normalize form number dot item dot json, then the new property. Oh no, not the new property, the property. Uh, in short, it's the field property or fields. Because in JavaScript, I see this as creating a field. So I mean creating a property. But here, to make it easier, let's just call it fields, right? So this is a field. This is pretty much basic understanding, basic syntax. So you can, if you're not lazy like me, you can just type it manually like that. So yeah, so we already Done with that. So just turn this always output data on. Let's execute once. Okay. Then next, what we're going to do is use the if statement now. So let's run this first to test. So basically, what will happen here is it will not go here. So if you will execute the workflow, it will go to the true branch because the data exists, right? So we will test this later. So let's just proceed with the if branch. So let's say the search contact. So let's say the email didn't exist, right? So it will go to the false branch. It will search the phone number. So in basically it will search in our HubSpot contact if any of those phone number exist, right? So which is what the filter here does. So after that, so let's say we already, if we found the phone number exists, we're gonna use the if node. So let's just use the if node to demonstrate that. So the same from our previous process, we're just gonna think JSON.id. I'm just gonna put JSON.id here because if I remember correctly, that's the format here. Is not empty. Okay, it's not empty. The same with the previous if statement, right? Okay, so convert types were required. Okay, just turn that on. I forgot to turn this on. Okay, yeah. Okay, convert types. Then after that, let's proceed with the HTTP request. So for the HTTP request, so this is basically what will happen. So let me explain first. So the search it already found. Let's say the phone number exists. It will go to our true branch. So I use HTTP request because HubSpot doesn't have an what you call this an update node. So I need to create an HTTP request node in order to for us to update the contact, right? Okay. So basically, uh, phone number, let's say phone number exists, right? And it's true, then it's gonna update the contact. Okay. So here, let's recap. Here, it will this if node will just check if the email exists, right? So we have true and false branch. If it's true, then it will proceed here, which is doing the update of the. Basically, this is just an update. So, but it is called creator update, right? Okay. Actually, you can just I'm just gonna make this update the contact. Okay. Let's just check if we don't encounter any errors. Yeah. Okay. So basically, that's what it does. Then, if it will now check under the phone's branch, it will check if the phone exists. Then, if it exists, then it's gonna update the contact. Okay. So let's do this. So I just encountered a minor issue. So I just unpublished my previous workflow, the same as this, because it's conflicting with what we are doing. So anyway, let's go back. I'm just gonna start new. Let me just delete all responses from the sheet. Just gonna delete this one again. Delete row. Okay. So let's go back. So we have the Konoha. Then I'm gonna check if we don't have any contacts here. Okay. So no contacts so far. Let me refresh this HubSpot CRM. Okay, I'm just gonna check. We don't have that. Okay. Okay, let me just create again. Okay, so we have that. So let's check if which branch it will go to. Currently, we don't have that. Okay, let's just wait. Okay, so here it is. So basically, what happens is it goes to the false because it doesn't find any existing con- phone number. And so let's go back. Any existing email, then goes to the false branch. Search for the phone number. So you can see it here. There, this is an item, but it's empty. Then in the if statement, it's still the same. And it goes here to the create contact HubSpot. Okay. Then we will receive the email. So if you check our emails, we'll receive a new email here. Okay. Then let's go to HubSpot to verify the contact today. Okay. So it successfully creates the contact. Then for the engagement, so here we have the engagement. Okay. So that's it. It worked. Now let's try the other branch to test it. So we're gonna go with the HTTP request. So I will explain further what we have to do here. So let me just okay. Let's run again. So basically what we're going to do now is the phone number exists and then it must update the contact. Okay? So let's do that. And I'm just gonna fill out a new form again using the same email. Oh, I think we're gonna go with different email this time because search phone number. Okay, let's go with another email to make that branch work. Let's go with this one. Okay, let's say Kakashi. Okay, let's go with concurrent at gmail.com. Answer would be the same phone number, right? True, the same phone number, then it will update the contact. Okay, so I'm just gonna get some info here. Let's go with Zapier. Okay, let's copy this one. Oops. And let's just do 009 because it will just normalize. We have that node, right? So let's fill this out. Okay. So let's check. So we have different email, but the same. Please enter valid number. Oh, okay. Okay. 0982. Let's check if that's the same. Okay. Okay, let me submit this form. So basically, it must only update and must not create a new contact. Check our automation here. Okay, so here's what happened. It successfully goes there. Okay, so let's check the HubSpot first. So did it update the name? Check. Okay, it says here Kakashiro Renoa. Let's double check. So create date is today, basically. Okay, so this is the only contact we have seen. Okay, so this is good. So it works perfectly. So now let's see what's happening here real quick. So let's go back a few nodes. So it check there's no existing email, but there is an existing phone number. So it found the Don Sasuke. Okay, good. Then after that, it created this one. The output, it outputted this one is not empty, which is this one, the ID. So you're going to get the ID. Then it goes to the HTTP request. So we use, so as you can see here, you use the search phone number here. So we get the ID field, so that we can be able, so as you can see on the output, we are able to update the contact. So it automatically updates the contact, then sends the client the email. So if you check the email, you can see it here. Let me check the data first. Don Kirante. Okay, it's here. Kakashi Roronoa, then 7 a.m. Okay, so if you check the data here, it's the same. So 7 a.m. August 31. Okay, so that's it for our simple booking automation. So if you learned something, just feel free to share this video, like and subscribe on our YouTube channel. So that's it. And on our next video, I might be able to create a more advanced workflow for this one. So that's it.